My name is Terri Bean, and I'm the sister of a Texas death row inmate named Jeff Wood. For those of you that don't know, my brother is factually innocent of murder, yet he was convicted over 22 years ago for another man's crime. My brother was convicted and has been labeled a monster, yet he wasn't even in the building when the murder happened, nor did he know that the actual perpetrator even had a gun. How can this happen? Really, how can it happen in today's society? How can someone be sentenced to die twice for a crime that they factually did not commit? The answer is poorly written laws, written by unqualified politicians. We vote for the most popular candidate, not for the most knowledgeable candidate. Our politicians are corrupt. We have the best politicians that money can buy. The actual killer in our case was executed back in 2002. But yet during election times, my brother has been given 2 different execution dates to show that they are tough on crime. Most people know that if they're with somebody who has drugs on them and you're with them, that you're just as responsible. What people don't know is that if you're with somebody and they commit a crime, that you could be sentenced to death for that because you didn't report it. The Texas law of parties is an extremely poorly written law. It has ambiguous language that allows people like my brother to be sentenced to death for murders that they didn't commit or weren't even in the building when it was committed. The law is open to interpretation, and it has allowed my brother to be tortured for 22 years and my family to be tortured right alongside him for 22 years. It has also affected other men who currently sit on death row. Humberto Garza, his family is here. Robert Garza was executed not so long ago. Sylvia was an advocate and always here with us. There are several members that are here today and still that are supporting us and the law of parties reform. I absolutely do not believe that any government ever has the right to kill its own citizens, but the death penalty is supposed to be reserved for the worst of the worst. And if a man never committed murder, and he never intended to commit murder, and he didn't even know that somebody had a gun on him at the time, how is that the worst of the worst? In my book, the worst of the worst are the prosecutors who lie and bring in unqualified witnesses to secure a conviction. In my book, the worst of the worst are politicians that don't understand the laws that they write, yet they vote on party lines. Those are the worst of the worst to me. We can make a change, but it's going to require effort. First, you're going to have to vote, plain and simple. You're going to have to vote. The people that are in there, they're allowed to be there because people either take action or they don't. Next, you're going to have to make some noise. And if you contact, most people don't know how that thing runs. Like, we've sat up here for years and watched them run and vote, like not on their own little button. They run around pushing other people's votes because people aren't on the floor to vote. It's craziness that's in there, and people just don't get it. You're going to have to contact these people. You're going to have to contact them over and over. Sometimes they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, but you're not my constituent. At which point I write them back and say, I'm sorry, I'm a citizen of Texas, and it's your job to hear me. So please, it is going to take a little bit of effort. They have to hear that you're against the death penalty. They have to hear that you're against the law of parties, and not just once. They have to hear it on the House side, and then they have to hear it in committee, and then they have to hear it in calendars, and then they have to hear it again on the other side. So Senate has to hear it, then it's got to go to calendar again, and then it's every single step they have to hear from you. It takes some work, but we're dedicated and we're going to make it happen. Please, one more time. Don't sit by and let innocent people like my brother be executed. Our judicial system is not perfect and it's riddled with human error. And as long as there's a chance that even one innocent person may lose their life, the death penalty should never be an option. Thank you.